Welcome back, detectives, to some more Agatha Christie, the ABC murders. We're ready to go and interrogate Donald Fraser, Betty's fiance. So I'm going to head back over to the diner, and we'll go from there. Let's see if we can get anything out of him. Apparently he was also a little bit short-fused, so we'll see. Alright, so let me observe him first of all.
How do you do, Mr. Fraser?
You're Hercule Poirot. Mr. Hastings said you wanted to speak to me.
Yes. I know that it may not be at the right time, but I would like to ask you a few questions.
Okay, so let me observe first.
This man looks suspicious.
Well, he's drinking Whitehorse whiskey. That's actually a real brand of whiskey.
Donald Fraser is in a terrible state, as if he hadn't slept all night. And he's drinking Whitehorse.
In fact, usually when I go camping
Leave me alone.
in the jungle with my uncle, we always take a bottle of Whitehorse whiskey. True story. If you drink enough of it, you actually see white horses. So let's interrogate the guy.
Tell me that it's a mistake. That Betty isn't dead.
Sadly, your lady friend has been murdered, Mr. Fraser.
Oh, Betty, if only you'd listened.
So let me see if he actually saw her yesterday.
Did you visit Betty yesterday afternoon?
No, I haven't seen Betty for 2 days. I was at the office yesterday afternoon.
Can you prove that?
Of course. But why this question? Betty died yesterday evening, didn't she?
I'm gonna tell him he's a suspect.
Betty was murdered during the night, but that does not prove that she did not meet her murderer earlier in the day.
So, am I a suspect?
Everybody close to Betty is a suspect, Mr. Fraser. I would be a very poor detective if I did not examine all possible eventualities. Do you know what Betty's plans were yesterday evening?
She said she was having dinner with her sister.
But her sister was in London.
Yet, Megan only returned to Bexhill this morning, Mr. Fraser.
I didn't know.
Right. May I ask you what you were doing yesterday evening?
I spent the evening working.
Your colleagues can confirm this?
No, I often take work home with me.
But he was probably here drinking Whitehorse whiskey, if you remember the receipts.
You are lying, Mr. Fraser. As was Betty when she hid the fact from you that she was seeing other men.
Betty was a very decent young woman. How dare you sully her memory?
Gotta find a killer, man.
I am not interested in memories of her, Mr. Fraser. I am looking for a killer, and I need you to be my closest ally. That is, unless you have something to hide.
Of course I don't.
Très bien. So, what were we saying? Where were you yesterday evening?
I looked everywhere for her, but in vain. When she said she was going to have dinner with her sister on a weekday, I thought it was strange. I tried not to think about it, but I was like a lion in a cage. I was convinced she was lying. So I went round all the restaurants in the town. When I didn't find her, I went to the next town. But nothing. I must have got home about midnight or 1 o'clock.
Did anybody see you?
I don't think so. I didn't talk to anybody. I was so furious.
Ah, I knew I'd find you here, Poirot. I thought the victim's young man was here.
Yes, is all yours, Chief Inspector. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Let's see what questions I can answer today. Did Donald have a motive for Betty's murder? Yes, he did. He thought she was lying, she was seeing other men. So that's a motive right there. Betty used to go out a great deal. Yeah, I guess that kind of fits that narrative. Donald doesn't have an alibi. And he was violent. So he did have a motive for killing her, and it was jealousy. Does he have an alibi? No, he doesn't. At least not one that anybody can confirm. He could have been at the beach when she was killed. And does Donald have a motive for all of the murders? Let's see. I don't think he has a murder to have killed the first victim. Yeah, and they were premeditated, so this kind of makes sense here. Donald may have killed Betty, but does not have motive to kill Mrs. Asher. Okay, so now I have to return to the crime scene.
Hastings looks ill at ease. He really doesn't like Fraser.
Let me talk to him one more time.
Hastings is bound to tell me what he thinks about Fraser later on. Now is not the right time.
Alright, let's get out of here. Let's go back to the crime scene and see if anything new has popped up there.
Fraser doesn't have an alibi and he's extremely jealous.
You are very skilled at summing up.
And yet you haven't asked Japp to arrest him.
It is too soon. But I agree, without the letters announcing the crimes, Fraser would already be behind bars. Bon, I think we have enough elements. Let's reconstruct the events at the scene of the crime.
Oh, so already ready for the reconstruction.
I can't imagine how the murderer wasn't seen, though. Surely she must have struggled.
Let us try and imagine the scene.
Alright, ladies and gents, here we go.
The killer and the victim are walking on the beach. Miss Betty has a bag, a belt around her waist, and carries her shoes in her hand. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 5.
Now, we gotta keep going. It was 6.
Both of them walk slowly to hut number 6.
That is correct. And Betty has to change and put all her stuff in there.
Miss Betty enters the hut. She leaves without her belongings. Then she hides a coat.
And I think they're a little bit more down the beach, so I'm gonna advance one more time, I think.
They keep walking. Then she removes her belt.
The murderer moves behind her and then attacks her by surprise. The body falls, lifeless, on the sand.
Everything appears to match the crime scene, mon cher Hastings. That is exactly what happened.
I don't understand why she was taking off her belt, though. Or maybe I do. Maybe she's just being a little promiscuous on the beach. Without the ABC, we might have suspected Miss Asher and Mr. Fraser, but by signing his crimes, the murderer is making sure that he is accused. In a way, it is very generous of him.
Generous? The murderer seduced Betty in order to lure her to the beach and kill her.
Indeed, the young woman was certainly careless, but not stupid enough to follow a stranger.
What are you planning to do, Poirot?
Return to London, mon cher Hastings.
Sorry, I don't know why he didn't read out that first line, but I tried to fill in the best I could. So let's return to London and see if I can piece together any more pieces of the puzzle. Let me actually take a look at all of this. Let me take a look at the journal. Donald Fraser, he's the fiancé, had no alibi, he was jealous, had a quick temper, likes whiskey, Whitehorse whiskey. Alright. nothing really else that is new there, so let me get my taxi and head back to London.
Right, back to London. There is nothing more for us to do here.
Why do I need a taxi? Why don't I have a private chauffeur? I don't know how I feel about that.
Japp has decided to reveal details to the press. The alphabet murder is now famous.
It is not a bad idea. The more people who know, the greater our chances of finding out something of interest.
Poirot, I have a bad feeling. Poor Mr. Poirot, not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Rather past your prime, perhaps. Let us see if you can do any better this time. This time, it's an easy one. Churston on the 30th. Do try and do something about it. It's a bit dull having it all my own way, you know. Good hunting. Ever yours, ABC. Good hunting. Did you hear that, Poirot? The murderer seems to be taking it all as a game, a challenge. He will strike on 30th in Churston. We must warn Scotland Yard.
Look at that, it just so happens it's already the 30th.
No time to lose. We must prepare our suitcases for Churston.
Mon Dieu, it is already 10 o'clock. I will call Scotland Yard immediately.
Alright, so let's take a look. First of all, let me look at the mirror. Get those ego points. I've already looked in this one. I don't know if I can look again, but might as well try. Yeah, sure enough, I got more ego points.
In his haste, Hastings tore the envelope.
So I got a piece of the envelope. Whitehorse Mansions, huh? The address on the envelope is wrong, but it's like Donald Fraser who likes Whitehorse, so that's maybe a subliminal mistake? That definitely makes him look very fishy. Let's see, I guess let's go call Scotland Yard. Actually, let me look at some of the newspaper here.
Daily Flicker, July the 26th, 1935. The Bexhill Horror. Young maid strangled on the beach. Killer struck at midnight.
Interesting. It's interesting that the clocks in Betty's house were all symbolically stopped at midnight and she died at midnight.
Daily Flicker, July 30, 1935. ABC affair, no progress. The alphabet murderer is still on the run. Ever since the police found the connection between the Bexhill and Andover affairs, the inquiry has barely progressed.
Ah, that's not good.
In this issue, we are publishing provocative letters sent by the killer to Hercule Poirot. Unfortunately, they have not yet helped to find him.
Our poor detective here is getting his ego destroyed. I need more ego points. Let's call Scotland Yard.
Hello, Japp. We received a new letter from ABC in the 10 o'clock post.
Where and when?
In Churston. Today.
Today? I'll inform the population immediately.
I'll check the train times. Call me back.
Alright. I don't know where to check the train times. Look at this guy. What is he doing?
Hastings, what you are doing is an absolute disaster. That is no way to pack suitcases.
Heavens, we must hurry. We have to get to Churston before the murder.
Order is essential.
Hastings' order and method are always necessary, regardless of the circumstances.
Okay. I'll let you pack them.
Our detective friend here is a very orderly person.
All the same, it really is a disgrace to leave your belongings in such a mess.
Look at all this junk. Unprotected bottles. badly folded pajamas, bath towels, badly closed toothpaste, and socks. Gross.
Voila. It only took a minute.
Poirot, you were right. I've just consulted the ABC guide. There's no hurry. The next train doesn't leave till 11:45.
You see, there is no need to hurry. We will not be in Churston until tomorrow morning, after the murder.
But why has the murderer warned us so late? It's not what he usually does. Did he do it on purpose?
Very good question, Hastings. We should also compare the letter we have just received with the other two, although I have very little doubt about what we will find.
So let's take a look at this stuff here. Let me see the ABC guide.
We've missed the 6:45 train, but we have plenty of time to catch the night train.
And I guess I can finally look at this book. Hastings Hunting.
Hastings' photo album. He is very proud of his bag.
So he's a proper British gentleman. Likes to hunt. Okay. And you know what? There were two little envelope pieces. I don't think I saw both of them. I saw this one, the Whitehorse Mansions. But what about this one? Not known at Whitehorse Mansions and Whitehorse Court. Try Whitehaven Mansions. Okay. And then this is the letter, I believe. Yep.
Poor Mr. Poirot. Not so
I've
good.
already read this, so I'm not gonna reread it. Alright, so I think I have to compare the letters again, so let me do that. Look at him, he's ready to go. And I can't compare a letter without turning on the fan.
Ah, some cool hair.
Nice. And I have to sit on my chair, of course. Alright, let's take a look here. Compare the letters.
Right, let us compare this new letter with the second one.
So
Let us examine this more
I'm
closely.
assuming it's going to be the same things. The I's, the A's, and the lowercase W's. Yep, so it's all the same thing. That's a little bit redundant.
Certain characters in the two letters may have similar defects. The W is not printed properly. Right, let us compare this with the other letter. Of course, the W characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
This is definitely a bit redundant. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yes, this I is weird.
I mean, I like comparing the letters.
Right, let us compare this with
But
the
why
other
not
letter.
make me find different similarities between the letters instead of the same ones every time?
Yes, the I characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
And then, of course, the A in ABC.
Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. Right, let us compare this with the other letter. That's right. The A characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. My theory was right. These two letters were written with the same typewriter. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Okay, so why does the murderer warn us so late? He didn't. He actually addressed the letter to the wrong address, that's why. Letter C was sent on the right date. Yeah. And, piece of the envelope with the wrong address. Yeah, the letter arrived late because of an error at the address.
The letter should have arrived in time. The postmark shows that it was sent 3 days ago. However, our man made a mistake in the address, which explains the delay. All the same, the post office took their time correcting the error.
Come on, Poirot. Your address is not quite as well known as that of Scotland Yard. Poirot, the telephone. It must be Jap.
Alright, let's go answer the phone here. And see what Jap has to say. I have a terrible feeling about this. And we will find out why in the next episode. That's when I'll answer the phone. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and I'll see you next time where we continue to try and figure out this murder mystery.